Bonjour friends and welcome to a new cozy vlog. Today I'm inviting you to join me on a short solo trip to London. If you've watched my previous vlogs, you'll know that I lived in this incredible city for nearly 10 years. London holds a special place in my heart, and no matter where life takes me, I'll always feel drawn back to its charm. This trip was a bit unusual. It was supposed to be a much needed break and self-care getaway, but I ended up getting sick. That meant I had to slow down and completely rethink my plans. Time was short and there was so much I wanted to see and do. I spent long hours walking in the mornings before the crowds arrived. It felt refreshing and gave me the space to reflect on my life, especially with autumn bringing so many changes on the horizon. My first stop was the Tate Britain, a museum that showcases British art from the 1500s to today. It's known for its impressive collection of works by iconic artists like Turner, one of my favorite painters, and the pre-Raphaelites, making it a must-see for art lovers. I had only visited this museum once before, so stepping inside felt like discovering it for the first time. The museum is filled with renowned paintings. I'm especially drawn to the pre-Raphaelite works and their use of poetry and literature as central themes. It makes the art feel so enchanting and evocative. I have a postcard of this painting by Constable in my office, so seeing the original in person was truly awe-inspiring. This room filled with paintings felt like stepping into a dream. Each scene was unique, with countless details to take in. Some of the works were truly captivating, with a masterful use of light that made them even more striking. I'm also always so impressed by how painters capture the intricate details of clothing. The painting titled Ophelia was the main reason I visited Tate Britain. Its dramatic and evocative beauty is truly captivating. I noticed I always feel a deep emotional response when I see a painting of a mother and her child. I guess being a mother myself, it touches a sensitive spot for me. If you're interested in modern art, the museum has some on display. While I'm not personally drawn to it, I appreciate witnessing the evolution and diversity of art. I was thrilled to find an exhibition dedicated to Turner's work. Known as the Painter of Light, his paintings truly show why he earned that title. I read that Turner inspired Monet and other French artists, and that he was colorblind. Such a fascinating fact. Later, I strolled through the city centre and passed by the Jewel Tower, a surviving part of the original Westminster Palace. There's a small cafe inside, so I grabbed a hot chocolate to go. London was quite hot and crowded during my visit. You could definitely sense people making the most of the last days of summer. I especially enjoyed strolling through St. James's Park. The views were beautiful and the relaxed atmosphere made it the perfect spot to rest and soak up the sun. In the evening, I headed to St. Pancras to meet up with my friends who used to be my flatmates. I love how much the area has changed. The original old buildings have been transformed into shops and restaurants, blending vintage charm with modern style. The atmosphere was vibrant, with plenty of events happening all around. The next morning, I headed to Notting Hill. After recently watching the movie, I couldn't resist visiting and enjoying the charming, colourful buildings and cute little mews. This was of course a must-see stop. Since I arrived at Portobello Road quite early, the market hadn't been set up yet, so I missed the moment when the area comes alive. My favourite part of Portobello Road is the stretch with all the beautiful little houses and colourful doors. I was especially taken with the pink one. On my last day in London, I visited my all-time favourite neighbourhood, Hampstead. It's a quaint village-like area with plenty of charming streets, cosy cafes and inviting pubs. Many artists have lived or still live in Hampstead, and you can even visit some of their homes. One of them is John Keats, the 19th century poet who lived in a charming house here. I used to love visiting it in the summer to sit and read in the peaceful surroundings. The true highlight of Hampstead is definitely Hampstead Heath. It's a vast park where you can wander and lose yourself in the peaceful nature, far from the hustle and bustle of the city. It's very quiet in the morning, except for the occasional barking dogs. That huge oak tree over there is where I decided to sit. I love how majestic and grand it looks. You'll often notice inscriptions on benches in London, usually dedicated to the memory of someone who has passed away. I find it so touching. It's such a beautiful and romantic way to honor a loved one. While I sat watching people walk their dogs, I enjoyed my breakfast, a huge, delicious blueberry muffin. I loved taking the time to think and reflect in this place I adore so much. For years, I felt a certain pain being away from London, but this trip brought me a sense of peace. It helped me finally turn the page on that chapter of my life. though I will always cherish my time and experiences here. Now I can leave without heartache and look forward to my next visit with excitement. It's a relief to have lifted the weight of longing. My last stop was Daunt Books in Marylebone, an absolute enchanting place to visit. It's definitely worth a stop, and next time I'm getting one of their tote bags. I love them and they make the perfect souvenir. Now that I'm back home in Paris, here are the books I picked up during my time in London. The first book is Belladonna, a dark fantasy novel with elements of mystery and romance. It follows a young woman who forms an unusual bond with Death himself as she uncovers secrets that could change her fate. Perfect for the coming season. Next is Girl, Woman, Other, a novel that explores the lives of 12 characters, mainly women of African or Caribbean descent, living in Britain. I found it at a charity shop for just £2 and it's in almost perfect condition. Then there's The Silence of the Girls, a novel that retells the story of the women captured during the Trojan War, focusing on their experiences and resilience. I picked up this one up at the same charity shop for £2, just like the previous book, and it's in excellent condition. At W.H. Smith, I picked up Atomic Habits, which I've been wanting to read for ages. I'm hopeful it will help me become a bit more disciplined. And finally, I got Hera, a new myth retelling by Jennifer Saint, who I absolutely adore. The cover is stunning and so powerful. It's now proudly displayed alongside all my other myth retellings. With summer coming to an end, I wanted to mark the occasion by organizing a special afternoon tea at home. I used the recipes from my favorite baking book and made some scones. I'm so proud of them, they always turn out perfect. I also baked a sponge cake, which I'll fill with a homemade white chocolate and pistachio ganache. To decorate the garden table, I simply used dried flowers I already had at home. They add a lovely charm while keeping things simple and budget-friendly. I wanted a floral, countryside theme, so I set the table with vintage tableware to complete the look. For tea, I used my beautiful vintage tea set, which my mother bought years ago at an antique shop in Denmark. It's so precious to me and I believe it dates back to the 1930s. I adore this set and it was the first time it had ever been used since my mother purchased it. The tea I served was of course my all-time favorite Thé du Louvre Côté Court from Palais d'été. It smells and tastes divine. The elegant blend of citrus, blackberry and black tea is simply exquisite. I love every time I get to refill my tea box. It's a little ritual that fills me with joy. It's one of those simple pleasures that adds a touch of sparkle to everyday life. The fun part now is setting the table and making everything look beautiful. I find it such a relaxing moment. It's a chance to explore creativity in a different way, and it's so rewarding to put love into it, especially when you get to share it with your guests. For the savory dishes, I kept it simple with hummus sandwiches and scrambled eggs with vegetable sandwiches. To serve with the scones, I couldn't find clotted cream, as it's hard to come by in France, so I opted for one of the best butters you can find here, Grand Fermage with sea salt crystals. It's absolutely delicious, especially paired with jam or honey. The table is ready and I'm so happy with how it turned out. Let the tea time begin, and remember, it's the little joys and simple pleasures that add sparkle to our everyday lives.